Hello from HaptX in San Luis Obispo, California. Welcome to this special announcement event. I'm Joe Michaels, Chief Revenue Officer at HaptX, and here at HaptX, we envision a metaverse full of the sensory richness of real life. And we believe that touch feedback is the most important missing element of the metaverse. And for the last 10 years, since our founding in 2012, our mission has been to bring realistic touch into virtual environments with the world's best haptic devices. Today, I'm thrilled to make the biggest announcement in HaptX history as we introduce the first HaptX glove to be designed and built for our enterprise customers to deploy at scale. In a moment, we'll show you this product, we'll discuss it with HaptX CEO and founder Jake Rubin, we'll answer your questions, and best of all, we'll tell you how you can pre-order this amazing product that we've spent the last 10 years working toward. And at any time, submit your questions for me and Jake below, and we'll answer them at the end of this event. Over the years, we've listened carefully to our customers when they've reacted to HaptX Gloves DK2. They've told us we love HaptX feedback, but we'd like to request some improvements to the form factor and the price of your gloves. Today, we're introducing a product that has the haptic feedback you need, the product features you want, at a price that fits your budget. Introducing HaptX Gloves G1.
Imagine a world without touch. Sadly, that is today's metaverse, where controllers feel like plastic and virtual reality feels like, well, nothing at all. At HaptX, we imagine a metaverse with the sensory richness of real life. So we built the tool to take us there, and it fits like a glove. Introducing HaptX Gloves G1, the world's only haptic gloves with realistic touch. With HaptX Gloves G1, if you can see it in the metaverse, you can feel it. The magic of G1 is air. Compressed air powers hundreds of tactile actuators that physically move your skin, creating realistic contact down to the fingertip level. With powerful force feedback to convey shape and size, and sub-millimeter motion tracking, we've taken what you loved about our last gloves and made it better with G1. Advanced vibro-tactile feedback to feel surface texture. 4 different glove sizes for better fit and performance. And a new air pack that's fully wireless, so it works where you work. We designed G1 specifically for the enterprise. Let's face it, VR controllers may be good enough for games, but your work is not a game. Next generation training, virtual design, teleoperated robotics. If you use your hands in your job, G1 makes your metaverse feel real. Some say best-in-class haptics are expensive. Not anymore. Now, best-in-class haptics are at a price that fits your budget, as low as $4,500 per pair. Pre-order G1 to lock in this price and your spot in line. Get ahead of your competition. Don't settle for game controllers. Choose the haptic glove built for the enterprise metaverse. Pre-order HaptX Gloves G1 now at haptix.com.
Now I'd like to introduce you to Jake Rubin, founder and CEO of HaptX. Hi, Jake.
Hi, Joe. I'm so excited to be here and tell everyone more about our new G1 gloves.
I'm excited about it too. And I really want to get into the technology and the product details of this incredible product. But first, let me take a moment to explain our plan for shipping the product. We're planning to begin the earliest shipments of HaptX Gloves G1 in the third quarter of 2023. As of this moment, you can go to haptix.com and pre-order HaptX Gloves G1. So go as soon as you're ready to haptx.com, place your pre-order, and hold your place in line for this incredible, game-changing haptic glove system. And now to the technology details. Jake, HaptX Gloves G1 is a new product, but it does rely on some of the same technology that we've had in place for a few years, right?
That's correct, Joe. G1 is based on our patented microfluidic technology platform we've been developing for almost a decade now. It enables the most realistic true contact tactile feedback, the industry's strongest force feedback, and the most accurate motion capture. But what I'm really excited about is to talk about all the new technologies and new features in the G1 system.
And to show those features, what we'd like to do is bring out our colleague Ivory, who has graciously volunteered to wear the G1 so we can show the product to you up close. Hello, Ivory.
Hi, Joe. Hi, Jake.
Welcome, Ivory.
Now, one thing that you may notice when you first see the HaptX Gloves G1 is the beautiful new glove design. Jake, tell us a little bit about these gloves.
Well, Joe, we've taken all the bulky and rigid components that you would notice in DK2, and not only have we integrated them into the glove itself, we've also made them fully soft and flexible. We've also redesigned the back of hand system to permit full uninhibited wrist mobility. We've created what really is the industry's first haptic glove that fits and feels like a glove.
And what about the feedback that you're getting in the glove?
Inside of the gloves, we have our microfluidic smart textile that provides hundreds of points of true contact tactile feedback, high fidelity, high resolution, and high displacement feedback across the user's palm and fingertips. We have a force feedback exoskeleton in the back of hand that provides up to 40 pounds of resistive force feedback to simulate the size and the rigidity of objects. Finally, we have the industry's leading electromagnetic motion capture system that provides unparalleled fidelity in finger motion capture, sub-millimeter accuracy.
Amazing. One thing our customers will really like is the fact that we're going to be selling these gloves in 4 different sizes. We'll be selling in small, medium, large, and extra large. So no matter what your hand looks like, you should be getting a great fit with these gloves. Now let's talk about the Air Pack. Ivory, if you can show us this amazing feat of engineering. Jake, tell us a little bit about this.
You know, Joe, I remember some of our first prototypes that required hundreds of pounds of pneumatic equipment to operate. And our engineers have managed to take all of that equipment, the compressor, the valves, manifolds, electronics, and miniaturize that into this single lightweight wearable system that can operate for 3 hours or more on a single battery charge.
So it's operating on a battery. That means there's no power cord. Is there any kind of tether to an external air source?
It is truly wireless.
Everything is contained in there. That's amazing. You can wear it on your body. It's light enough to move about in a room scale application, or you can take it off and place it on the desk in front of you and use it for a seated or standing application. This thing is really the ultimate in flexibility.
The wireless mobility opens up so many new applications for our customers.
So tell us about the software development kit, Jake. How would you say that is going to be a useful tool for our industrial and our enterprise customers?
Absolutely, Joe. Our SDK has plugins for Unreal Engine and Unity that allow our customers to very easily create new content with no coding required or to port existing immersive content over to the G1 platform. We also, for customers who are so inclined, have a C++ API that allows them to create custom integrations with, for example, new engines. Finally, we have a ROS node that we've developed for our Telerobotics customers that allows them to link our gloves to a variety of different robotic end effectors and control them dexterously from anywhere in the world. We've also taken our already industry-leading haptics and we've made it even better. We've improved everything from hand animation to texture feedback, taken it down to the sub-millimeter scale for micro textures, and we've improved the quality of feedback on really every part of the gloves. And finally, and perhaps one of the features I'm most excited about, is our multiplayer haptic collaboration. Users from long distances across the world can collaborate simultaneously in haptically enabled immersive environments, which is just incredibly powerful.
Thank you so much, Jake. Really appreciate you giving us all of those insights into our technology and the product. It's really helpful.
Happy to be here, Joe, and I can't wait for people to get their hands on the new G1 gloves.
Before we get to the Q&A, I'd like to spend a moment talking about the benefits of pre-ordering HaptX Gloves G1. When you pre-order, you establish a priority date. The sooner you pre-order, the sooner you'll receive your HaptX Gloves G1 systems. By putting a small deposit down now, you will receive your product at the earliest possible time after we begin shipping the product, which is expected to begin in the third quarter of 2023. Let me remind you of the amazing pre-order price of the HaptX Gloves G1. Right now, when you order an individual pair of HaptX Gloves G1, you pay only $5,495 per pair. When you pre-order a bundle of all 4 sizes of HaptX Gloves G1, which we recommend for best fit and performance, you will pay only $4,500 per pair. That is a game-changing price for the haptic technology that experts call the most realistic in the industry. In just a moment, Jake and I will take your questions, so submit them below, and we'll be happy to tell you more about this amazing HaptX Gloves G1 system we're so excited about.
Please stand by while Jake and Joe move to another room to answer your questions about HaptX Gloves G1.
Great pleasure to have you here at the Q&A session for today's event. We're going to read some of the questions that we've been receiving, and I have them coming up live. So if you have any additional questions, please keep feeding them into the Q&A area, and Jake and I will answer them. So the first question that we have is, in what international markets will this product be available for pre-order? And the answer to that question is we are accepting pre-orders from nearly 60 markets around the world. The best way to find out if this is available in your country is to go through the pre-order process, and we will ask for your country in the midst of that process, and you will see if your country is accepted. And if not, just sign up for our newsletter, and we will give you a heads up as we add new markets. Let's see, Jake, hang in here because we're getting a question. What is the weight of the new air pack?
Sure. So the weight of the new air pack is approximately 17 pounds, which is a substantial reduction from the 20 plus pounds in the DK2. But actually the weight alone doesn't tell the whole story. We noticed in our user testing that most of the discomfort with the backpack wasn't associated with the weight. It was associated with the inertia. As users turn quickly, for example, they would feel that rotational inertia pulling them around. And so much of that has to do with the ergonomics of the system, how far off of your back the center of mass of the backpack is. And with the dramatic reduction in not just weight, but also the size of the system, and particularly how close we got into the back, it feels even lighter than it is relative to DK2. Mm-hmm. The other thing I'll note is a general rule of thumb that we employed in designing the system. Some of you may have heard before. It's what's called the 15% rule. Mm-hmm. So you'll often hear this in the context of like hiking or backpacking. Typically, a healthy adult can carry about 15% of their body weight around all day comfortably, even doing active things like hiking. Mm-hmm. So we really try to target for our smallest users getting under that 15% threshold, and we felt that that was a good guidepost for what would be comfortable for almost any user for extended duration.
Great. Thank you, Jake. Does the price for the glove pair include the air system or just the gloves? So I'm glad you asked this question. The prices that we just revealed in that video are for a glove purchase. We've brought the price, as we said, way down relative to the HaptX Gloves DK2, and we're really pleased to have a product in market that we think fits enterprise budget so well. The gloves work with the air pack, and the air pack is available by subscription. We're offering something called the HaptX subscription. It will cost a few $100s a month. And so when you go to haptix.com and you pre-order HaptX Gloves G1, we'll let you choose how many of the air packs you want. And we'll come back to you later in several months and get some more details about your subscription. And we'll also let you choose whether you want the best fit bundle, which gives you 4 pairs of gloves and 4 different sizes per air pack, or if you just want to order an individual number of pairs. And so that is how we have priced this. And it's an exciting new business model that we think is much more flexible for our customers. Let's see. So, will you be showing this at ITSEC this year? For those of you who don't know, ITSEC is the premier training and simulation conference, trade show for the military in Orlando, and the answer is yes. We'll have a nice big booth at ITSEC this year, and we can't wait to see you there. But the question is, will you be showing this at ITSEC this year? And what I'd like to explain is that we will be giving the first demos of the product early next year. I will be bringing this HaptX Gloves G1 in physical form, so you can see what it looks like, see it up close, get a sense of the materials, etc. We'll be bringing that to ITSEC and many trade shows, and we'll have a version that you can try early in the new year. Jake, is there anything else you want to say about that?
That's correct, Joe. I think you described it. I think anyone who's familiar with the development cycle for a new hardware product, there typically is a gap between having the hardware complete and ready to announce, and having all the software tuned and ready to put people through demos. So we're really looking forward to sharing this with all of you next year. I think you'll see all the amazing benefits of the product then.
Okay. Does the HaptX Gloves G1 include any forms of haptics other than the tactile, such as force feedback?
Absolutely. So, we've always prided ourselves on providing a holistic haptic experience. Our tactile feedback, our true contact tactile feedback certainly is the most unique, and we feel the most important part of the experience. It accounts for the majority of the sensory bandwidth of particularly dexterous interaction of the hands. However, we found early in our user testing that any form of feedback alone, tactile only, force feedback only, particularly motion tracking only, where you have no haptics, is really not enough to provide true immersion. You really end up with more of an uncanny valley of sensation, where, for example, force feedback alone, it's as if you dip your hand into a vat of like a numbing agent, and it just feels profoundly unnatural. And while tactile alone has a lot of benefits, you're still going to get all the fine interaction. The same thing applies. Without the force feedback, your hand will go right through virtual objects. So in addition to the 130 plus points of tactile feedback, we provide up to 40 pounds of resistive force feedback across all 5 fingers on each hand, through a soft exoskeleton that's actually now fully integrated into the glove itself.
Okay.
I'll also mention our motion tracking, which, while it's not haptics, is a really critical part of the overall user experience. We have electromagnetic motion tracking that offers sub-millimeter accuracy. So those really are the 3 primary systems that work together to create that immersive experience.
Excellent. So the next question is the G1 mostly for enterprise use, or can individual consumers utilize this product as well? We like to be very clear that HaptX Gloves G1 really is an enterprise product. It's something we sell to businesses, to governments, to academic institutions around, and we will sell it around the world. Unfortunately, it's not really designed for customers yet. I know as the price comes down, it's almost within reach, I think, of some customers, but consumers, I should say. But for now, we really are suited to enterprise applications, and we'll of course let you know if and when we're ready to release a consumer product, but we're not quite there yet. Okay, there is a very technical question here that I know you would probably love to answer, Jake, but I'm going to pause that one and maybe answer her directly later. Okay, how loud is the air pack when in use, Jake?
About 50 decibels or less. So we actually have a noise spec for that. You can find in our specification sheet. It's remarkably quiet. I don't know if the number of 50 decibels means very much to most of you, but to put it in comparison, in a quiet room like this one, there's a humming fan above us. That's probably over 50 decibels. If we had a decibel meter in here, it would probably read something like 55, I'm guessing, when we're not talking. So it really is quite quiet. If you put your ear up to it, you'll hear it, but I would compare it to a very quiet hum from, for example, a computer fan or an AC fan. And with any other noise going on in the room, and certainly with VR headphones on, you're not even going to hear it.
Okay. We're getting a few questions, a few people asking the same question, which is basically, is the haptic feedback better or equal to what was in the prior version? How would you compare the haptic feedback from DK2 to G1?
I would say it's better on a number of levels. So in terms of the actual haptic technology platform, we've kept similar resolution. We've actually increased it slightly relative to DK2. We've optimized the panel layout significantly. We've totally redesigned the air controller. We've added a bunch of new haptic features, including, for example, micro texture feedback in software and hardware. So there's going to be a lot more haptic capability, and the fundamental haptic quality is going to be better. What's kind of less exciting to talk about, but actually, in user testing makes a bigger difference, is the ergonomic factors. We heard a lot from users of DK2. We almost never heard complaints about, oh, this doesn't have enough resolution, this isn't sensitive enough. It was, almost always when we looked into some of the less good experience with DK2, it was almost always fit ergonomics. If you have a tiny hand, for example, in our one size large and extra large DK2, you're not going to make contact with most of the haptic actuators inside of the glove. And so, it doesn't matter. It could be a perfect glove with an infinite number of actuators. And if your hand's not actually touching them, you're not going to have a good experience. So the combination of the improved haptic hardware, the improved SDK features and haptic rendering software, and critically, the multiple sizes and the improved fit and feel will deliver an exponentially improved haptic experience.
Excellent. Okay. What are the top 3 use cases that you would consider the G1s being, best suited for and superior to other products for? I can answer that one. We like to explain the top 3 broad use cases for this product are virtual training, virtual design, and telerobotics. Those are nice broad categories. There are lots of individual industries and company types that fit within those, but this product is extremely well suited for training, education, and simulation in the virtual world. It's so powerful to be able to give people who are learning how to use their hands in their jobs realistic touch sensations, so they build accurate muscle memory. That's in many ways the biggest, I think, of the opportunities. The second is virtual design. We have heard from countless companies that are working in 3D design programs that they would like very much to be able to manipulate the 3D models with their hands. It's a great device, your hands, such dexterity and sensitivity, and to be able to use your hands in the process of designing products is a huge time and money saver for companies of all types, automakers and so many others. And then the third one is robotics. We have, it's been a wonderful surprise to me over the past few years how many companies are looking to control next generation robots with dexterous humanoid robot hand and effectors, and to be able to control them precisely and naturally using HaptX gloves. So, we'd be happy to tell you more about this. We have a Talk to HaptX feature on our website. Just come reach out to us and we'll be happy to tell you more about that. Jake, what is the latency in response time?
Sure. So it's a little bit of a nuanced question. It depends on the exact subsystem. You'll find detailed specs on our website for example, force feedback, tactile latency, tactile bandwidth. These are all different elements of latency, compute latency, et cetera. But broadly speaking, it's in the low tens of milliseconds, approximately sub 30 milliseconds. In haptics, there is a similar concept to, for example, the motion to photon latency in HMDs. It's a little bit more tolerant than haptics, but not much. So typically in the world of HMDs, you want to see a sub about 30 millisecond latency. In the world of haptics, typically anything under 50 milliseconds is not noticeable. So, by comparison, human reaction time typically tends to be around about 150 milliseconds. So sub 30 milliseconds is absolutely not noticeable in any context.
Yeah, as a less technical person than Jake, I would say it's screaming fast.
It is. That's a good way of putting it, Joe. It's screaming fast. I also saw a question there about bandwidth, so I figured I would answer that at the same time.
Please.
It's related to latency.
Please.
So we're still finalizing the exact frequency response that will evolve as we continue to optimize it. But we're already getting results in the low hundreds of hertz for the tactile actuators. And again, that may not mean much to a lot of you, but those are the peak frequencies where type of receptor in your hand called the Pacinian corpuscle, which is what gives you that fine surface texture, for example, fine vibration, has its peak responsiveness. And that allows you to feel textures that actually are at the micro scale, the micron level. So we are well into the range where we can stimulate those receptors and simulate those very, very fine textures well under a millimeter in scale. And we'll continue to optimize that as we get closer to ship.
Okay, can you elaborate on the subscription package and what is included in the $495 per month fee? Great question. So the HaptX subscription offers you basically everything other than the gloves that you need to have a great experience with touch in VR. So the biggest and most obvious thing you get as part of the HaptX subscription is the Air Pack. And we supply you with the Air Pack. And there's a service and maintenance plan that comes with it. So if anything goes wrong with the Air Pack, you don't own it. You can return it to us. We'll give you a repaired a new one. And it's a very convenient way to go. And the other important thing that's included in the subscription is the HaptX SDK. And actually, we're getting another question about the SDK. So can you describe sort of the Haptics creation, editing, integration tools, the plugins for Unreal Engine and Unity? So Jake, would you spend a moment just elaborating on the SDK that's coming?
Sure. I'll say that's a pretty comprehensive question. So yes. I would encourage the asker. We can reach out afterwards. There's more information on the website, and we'll make SDK documentation available. But at a high level, I can speak to the haptic integration tools. So we pride ourselves on having no-code integration tools, which make it very easy to take an existing project in Unreal Engine or Unity, or develop a new project and add G1 haptic functionality. We have a variety of templates we call haptic primitives that allow you to drag and drop functionality, even for complex interactions, like, for example, buttons, switches, levers, dials, etc. And one of the nice things about our SDK, the way that we extract haptic information about objects, the vast majority of things in a scene will just work. Mm-hmm. If it doesn't have internal degrees of freedom, like for example, a button or dial, really, think about almost anything in the room around us right now, that will just work. There's no code required. There's typically no modification required to the assets. You can reach out and touch, for example, a virtual table automatically. So we make that very easy with our SDK tools. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a couple other questions in there, but we'll touch on those separately.
So Jake, how much does the glove weigh? We've talked about the Air Pack. How much does the glove itself weigh?
So the glove itself is sub 1 pound, which we're quite proud of. It's lighter than DK2. And again, we've done a lot of user testing to kind of determine where that threshold is, where people start to get fatigued, which typically we saw around the 1.5 to 2 pound point. There is sort of a cliff where people start to go, "Ooh, my shoulders are hurting. Oh, my hands," and 1 pound is well below that. So, typically, even with the heavier DK2, we didn't see a ton of people complaining about fatigue. And this is, again, as with the backpack, not just lighter, but it's also much tighter to the arm. The center of mass is farther up the arm, which puts less torque on your shoulder, for example. So it should, again, feel even lighter than it is relative to the DK2 system.
Let's see. We have a question. When will people be able to get hands-on with the G1, try an early release of the hardware for companies such as Fundamental VR? I think I know who wrote that question. Shout out to our friends in the UK at Fundamental VR. Yes, we're very excited to begin shipping the product to customers. If it goes as expected, we'll be shipping our first units in Q3 of 2023. And the good news is, before we start shipping the first ones, we will have beta versions that we'll be able to let people try. The first ones should be available to try early next year. We'll have more information for you as it comes. And as we get closer to ship dates, we'll probably be able to increase our capabilities to let people try it in locations around the world. There's nothing quite like feeling it, when you're talking about a physical hardware wearable product. So that'll be great. Let's see. Okay. Okay, do you support multi-user functionality? That is a wonderful question. The answer is absolutely yes. This product is all about collaboration, including haptics. And I'm going to ask Jake to talk a little bit about what we mean when we talk about this multi-player haptic functionality that will be part of our SDK and G1.
Yeah, so we put a ton of work into the multi-user functionality. It's something that technically was a part of our DK2 SDK, but it was really a kind of a beta feature. With G1, multi-user collaboration is really going to come into its own. Whether you're collaborating in the same local space or whether you're collaborating across continents. Our platform will support not just 2, but a multitude of users. The exact number is going to be dependent not on the Haptic system, but on other factors like the available compute power and bandwidth, much like you'd see with any multi-user VR environment. But whether it's, again, a classroom training environment where you have a teacher and multiple students, or whether it's multiple design professionals collaborating to, for example, do a design review, we've just seen so many incredible applications. And it's been one of the most requested features from our customers to have that true multi-user functionality. So it's one of the things I'm personally most excited about. I think it's going to be one of the most useful features for our customers who are watching. So we're really, really excited to share that with you.
The first time you get to shake someone else's hand when you're standing in one part of the country and your colleagues in another part of the country, I think will be a pretty special moment for you. I know, it certainly has been for us. And tossing a ball back and forth and doing, doing design reviews, doing training together. I think haptic multiplayer features are the future of collaboration. We couldn't be more excited about that.
I'll put a quick plug in for Telerobotics as well. There's some incredible applications as well that involve remote teleoperation, as well as you can mix and match these features. So in principle, you could have a teleoperated robot, you could have multiple users all collaborating in the same VR or MR environment. So again, it opens up so many possibilities, many of which I don't even think we've thought of yet. But we love to provide the software tools that allow all of you to go out and create these amazing applications. And having multiple people in the same environment remotely just opens up so many more possibilities.
Yes, we got a great question, which is, have any companies requested early multiple orders? We have quietly been talking to some of our best customers in the industry about this for the last few months. And we have gotten an unbelievable amount of interest and early requests for this product. So it's the quantities have been exciting. So that's why we're opening it up to pre-orders now and encouraging you to put your pre-order in as soon as possible, because we will give you a priority date based on the day that you pre-order, and we will begin shipping these, if all goes as planned, in the third quarter of next year, in order of when we received customer interest and reservations and pre-orders and all the things that we've been doing. So please pre-order as soon as you can if you want to receive your G1 product at the earliest possible time.
I would say as well, Joe, it's thank you to those of you who've expressed interest in our early access reservation program. It was just overwhelming to see the level of interest we had. Of course, we can't talk about exact numbers, but it clearly exceeded our expectations.
Yes.
And to give you a sense of scale, it was multiple orders of magnitude more than our entire DK2 production. So
yes,
we're just incredibly excited to see how excited you guys have been about the product. And we plan to produce enough G1s to meet demand. And I think that number is going to be very substantial based on the early interest we've seen.
I agree. One of our best friends in the world asked, what is the manufacturing capability for the quantity of the gloves? And when does the sign up cut off? So Jake, would you say there's any limit on the manufacturing capability of the gloves?
Not really. I mean, there's a limit to how many we can produce in a given period of time. But I'll put in a plug for our amazing manufacturing partner, Advanced Input Systems. We've had a deep partnership with them for many years now, and they really give us the capability to respond to demand in a scalable way. Hardware is hard, as everyone knows, and often I think startups struggle, particularly with complex products, to bring them to market in a timely manner and to adapt to, for example, changes in demand. And with the deep partnership we have with Advanced Input Systems, with their scale, with their expertise, it does give us the ability to scale very quickly to meet, whatever demand ends up being. Again, there are practical limitations in terms of the rate of scaling, but I think, we should be able to meet just about any demand that we end up seeing.
Yeah. Part of that question was, when does the sign up cut off? So we have opened up pre-orders right now with no specific end date set. We'll see how well pre-orders go, and there is a reasonable chance that at some point we will shift away from this pre-order period and move to a different period. And one of the things about this pre-order period is we've discounted the price. We haven't really announced what the ultimate MSRP will be. but this does represent a discount relative to what I think you'll be able to buy it for next year. So it's another good reason to go in and pre-order now. Excuse me. Does the new kit include all 4 sizes, or do the gloves need to be purchased separately? And similarly, can you get, say, 2 mediums and 2 larges in the bundle, or does it need to be 1 of each size? So let me just go back for a moment and explain the concept of the best fit bundle. It is, we think, a really clever way for you to ensure that no matter who steps up to your air pack, to your station where you're offering our haptic feedback, no matter what the person looks like and no matter what their hands look like, because you have the best fit bundle, which has extra large, large, medium, and small size gloves, you'll be able to fit that user, in the best possible way and give them the best experience. So for each air pack, we recommend the best fit bundle. To answer Heather's question, today we're not letting you play around with the bundle and ask for 2 mediums and 2 larges. The best fit bundle includes small, medium, large, or extra large. If you have a special need, if there's something that you're looking for in particular, talk to HaptX. We have a feature on the website that makes it very easy for you to get in touch with us. And we'll be happy to find a way to get you exactly what you're looking for. We're easy to do business with. We're excited to get this in your hands. So if you'd like to pre-order it in a special way, talk to HaptX.
Joe, to follow up on that as well, I would say we call it the best fit bundle for a very good reason.
Mm-hmm.
Humans come obviously in a wide variety of sizes and shapes, and there is no such thing as one size fits all.
Mm-hmm.
We did our best with EK2, given the limited resources we had, to make one size fit all. But even for a pair of gardening gloves or golf gloves, you really do need multiple sizes to
Mm-hmm.
fit people well and result in the best experience. So we believe that for most customers, the best fit bundle will result in the best experience because it does accommodate any possible person that might come up and try the system.
Mm-hmm.
There certainly are cases where users might want to purchase a few gloves of discrete sizes. Perhaps there's a handful of people that are going to be using them most of the time. Perhaps they'll primarily be used by developers. But again, in most cases, we do recommend the best fit bundle to make sure that anyone who uses the system will get the best experience.
So there was a question, can I purchase an air pack from HaptX? And the answer is we recommend that you get your air pack through the HaptX subscription. However, a number of customers have told us over the past few months, for a number of reasons, could be the reality of their budgeting, or it could be security concerns they have. They want to own the air pack outright. And related to what I said before, we have the ability to look into all kinds of exceptions if needed. Contact HaptX and let us try to meet your needs if that's important to you. Okay, how long are you expecting battery life to be, and how long does it take to charge a battery? Do we know that yet?
So it's 3-hour plus typical battery life, and that's pretty conservative. It obviously depends on what you're doing, but that should be a rough figure. In terms of charge time, I don't have that figure offhand, but it's a fraction of the life cycle for a battery. It's pretty similar to what you would see with a typical lithium-ion battery in other electronic devices. So it shouldn't be radically different than what you would expect.
Will it be possible to integrate the gloves into existing VR content? This is one of our friends in Florida who asked about healthcare VR simulation software. How do you integrate the gloves into existing VR content?
It's really no different than creating new content. And in some ways it's easier because the content is already there, obviously. So provided that it's in Unreal Engine or Unity, you can use our SDK and our Unreal Engine or Unity plugins to easily convert that content. If it's on another platform, you can use our C++ API to create a custom integration. Typically, depending on the complexity of the content, we've seen customers take existing content and get it up and running on our platform in as few as a few minutes. For very complex projects, there may be a number of tweaks that need to be made. There may be some other changes that need to be made. It can take a few days, but it's not. It should be a small fraction of the time it took to develop the content in the first place. So it's not a lot of additional overhead.
Can you repeat the subscription price of one air pack? Yes. So the Haptic subscription, which includes the air pack and the SDK and service and maintenance, will be available at a starting price of $495 per month. We will present some upgrade opportunities if you're looking for extra functionality and other things. We'll be sharing a little bit more detail about that in coming months. For now, you can rest assured that you can get your air pack and power the HaptX gloves perfectly well with the subscription costing a few $100s a month. Let's see. Oh boy. Yes, one of the great young haptic inventors who I don't know if I can mention him by name, but he's got lots of great technical questions in here, and I may just reach out to you, Lucas, and talk to you directly about some of these things. Okay, so let's see. How do you compare the force feedback technology relative to other companies offering, force feedback gloves?
Sure. So I think it's a two-part answer. One, we feel our force feedback is superior in a number of senses. Response time, for example, total force. We offer by far the highest total force on the market. If you look at the routing, for example, of our force feedback tendons, it's optimized to provide the most natural sensation relative to other companies that really feel more like a tug on the tip of your finger than something that you're actually touching. So I could spend 10 minutes talking about our force feedback architecture, but perhaps the most important point is it's not just force feedback. The other gloves on the market that feature force feedback either are force feedback only, or their tactile feedback is limited to buzzing, vibrating motors. And if you look at, as I mentioned earlier, the actual sensory bandwidth of the hand, the number of tactile receptors in your hand, about 85% of those receptors are dedicated to tactile feedback, not to that kinesthetic force feedback. And so without that, I mentioned earlier, it's kind of like dipping your hand into a vat of a numbing agent and then trying to manipulate objects. You'll feel something, but it's not going to be natural, and it's going to be far from that holistic feedback that we offer. So there are lighter, smaller solutions on the market. There are cheaper solutions on the market, although not much cheaper given our new price point. But there is, we pride ourselves on delivering the best quality of feedback and the only realistic feedback. There's really nothing else close in the market in terms of feeling like manipulating a real object.
When will HaptX Gloves G1 be available in Europe, and are there any resellers in Europe for HaptX Gloves G1? So we're thrilled to share that you can go right now to haptix.com and place a pre-order in, I believe, every European country. So today is the day. Unlike some companies that really slow their rollout, I think, around the world, we're excited to accept pre-orders from nearly 60 countries around the world, including all of Europe. We do have a number of resellers around the world. We will be slowly getting them up to speed on how they can show you and tell you about and take pre-orders for HaptX Gloves G1. So you can expect to hear more about our resellers and from our resellers in coming weeks. Will the G1 still support Telerobotics, Jake?
Oh, absolutely. As Joe mentioned, Telerobotics is one of our three sort of pillar markets. Not only will we support it, but we've added a number of new features that are focused on Telerobotics. For example, just to name one, the new ROS node that we have that will make it much easier to integrate directly with Telerobotics systems. So, I could talk for 10, 15 minutes about the Telerobotics features, but suffice to say that not only are we still supporting Telerobotics, but it is a priority for us, and you'll see even more features for Telerobotics in G1 and DK2.
Yeah, and I might have been nervous at the beginning of this that we wouldn't get questions. We're getting tons of them, and I'm not a professional question answerer, so on Zoom. So thank you for your patience as we look at this. Let's see. Down here, yes. So what is the down payment associated with pre-orders? We tried to keep this very simple and easy for our customers. So what we decided to do is ask for a small deposit when you pre-order. And in order to keep it as simple for you as possible, we're not taking any deposit on the subscription. You don't have to put down any kind of deposit on the air pack, anything like that. We only look at the cost of the glove pairs that you would like to buy, and we ask for 10% of the cost of those gloves. And we take credit cards on HaptX.com, we take Google Pay, and of course, talk to HaptX and request a quote. We can accept checks, we can accept ACHs, we can go through POs, any number of different methods to try to make this easy for you. And a 10% deposit on the cost of the glove pairs alone will hold your place in line and give you shipping priority when we're ready to start shipping. Let's see. How do we know what the actual glove size is? That's a good question. You know, we're offering in small, medium, large, and extra large. If you go to HaptX.com, we have a sizing chart there, and you can get the exact range of size for each of the pair sizes. So in other words, we look at the hand length, which is basically the base of your hand up to the top of your ring finger, and the circumference of your hand to really reflect the width and a number of other aspects. And with those two measurements, you should be able to tell where your ideal hand size is. But understand that right now in the pre-order process, you actually don't need to try to determine if you're going to want, a medium or an extra large. Just tell us how many pairs you'll want, and we'll come back to you closer to the time when we ship and ask for your selections for sizes. So, no need to stress about it now. You can get a good sense of your sizing on the website. And when we're a little bit closer to shipping, we'll ask you to make your size choices. How can the gloves be cleaned between each person wearing them? Can you talk about hygiene?
Sure. So I would say there's a number of different levels that we've implemented here to keep the gloves as sanitary as possible. The first is an underglove. So we have a very inexpensive, soft, extremely light underglove that actually prevents direct skin contact between the person's hand and the inside of the glove itself, while still transferring all of the haptic sensation. So that keeps most of the gunk from the person's hand from ever getting onto the glove. They still do need to be periodically cleaned. We have a comprehensive cleaning protocol that we've developed and honed through the pandemic to be able to fully clean and sterilize those. And we have a variety of antimicrobial features that are actually built into the design of the glove itself. And I will note that the gloves, kind of the final level there is the gloves themselves. They are a consumable. They're designed for about an 18-month life per glove pair. We expect to introduce new versions of the gloves on about a 1 year to 15-month cadence. So one of the nice things about the subscription model is the air pack and the hardware components of the gloves really have an incredibly long life. And so we expect to have multiple generations of gloves that work with that same air pack system and that offer new features and improvements on a regular cadence.
Is there a charging dock for the battery, and is there a price announcement for the extra batteries? So what is the approach to batteries for the air pack? Do we know?
So I think I have to defer the question on the extra battery. I don't know that off the top of my head.
Okay.
I think we may actually still be figuring out exactly what that looks like.
Okay.
But again, the built-in battery will offer you a 3+ hour battery life, and we do plan to offer that extra battery for those who want that functionality.
Okay. I see you, the person who asked that question, and
Yes,
I will follow up with you.
We'll get back to you on that.
I know this person well, and I'm looking forward to talking with them. Okay. Let's see. Given the number of seated uses, seated applications in VR, is it possible to have the air pack off to the side, so I suppose not worn on the body, and possibly longer connection tethers?
Yeah, so I'll note the backpack is designed, or the air pack is designed to be convertible between backpack mode and tabletop mode, and we've optimized the length of the umbilicals to provide an excellent experience in both seated and standing modes. So for the vast majority of users and vast majority of use cases, you shouldn't need a longer connection. It is possible to create a longer connection. There are downsides to that, including increased latency and decreased performance. So if you have an application that absolutely requires a longer connection, we can talk about that, about doing something custom. But I think you'll find that the length of the tether as designed will meet the vast majority of use cases, both seated and standing, and it provides for the optimal haptic experience.
Are deposits on the pre-orders refundable? I'm glad you asked that question. The answer is no. Once you put a deposit down on HaptX Gloves G1, we consider that an agreement with you to buy the gloves. You're not obligated to pay the balance on it until the time when we're ready to ship. And we'll be coming to you later to let you make your selections for sizes and for your subscription choices. So we're trying to keep it lightweight and easy, but please do consider your deposit a commitment to purchase HaptX Gloves G1. Okay, I had to skip over so many questions that I hope I didn't miss some of the really good ones. There was a question about do we ever plan to make other products, including a haptic suit? Jake, can you talk a little bit about our roadmap and our vision?
Sure. I wish you could all be with us under NDA in our lab here, and we can show you all the other amazing things that we're working on. What I can say publicly is limited. So I will stick to what we said in our last press release to give you all a bit of a hint. I will note that with our last funding announcement, we did talk about funding a new suite of products. I did clarify to a few journalists that means multiple products. So this will not be the only product that we announce in the not so distant future. So hopefully that gives you a bit of a hint. And I think I've been pretty transparent about our overall roadmap and our vision publicly. And I can say we're making amazing progress. I mean, you frankly wouldn't believe what is about 1,000 feet that way. So that's all I can say. I wish I could say more.
Yes, and I'm glad to hold a few surprises for the viewers, because there's a lot of exciting stuff we're announcing today and a lot of exciting stuff to come. We can't wait to share waves of really great news over the coming months and years.
So I think one important point on the product suite, I can't talk about what the rest of that looks like, is it is designed for compatibility with G1. So rest assured, if you invest in the G1 platform, that will be universally compatible with other products that we introduce that add additional functionality in the future. So I think that's an important point to make. I don't want people thinking, we're going to release something else in a year that's going to obsolete G1.
Good. Okay, I don't want to miss any of the amazing questions people have been asking. So many. All right, well, if you're still with us, maybe you're ready for some technical questions.
I think I answered that one, actually, Joe.
Oh, that's right. Yes, you answered that one. Boy, your eyes are great. Okay, let's see. Okay, how many? Do you want to answer how many joint angles per finger can be measured? How much the finger bends, or joining angles measured independently?
Yes, I mean, there's a lot of nuance to that, but I'll give kind of a 30-second answer.
Okay.
So, one of the reasons we consider our motion capture to be the best in the industry is, unlike other systems that have like a bend sensor, for example, where you're really not getting independent capture of all the degrees of freedom of the finger, we actually have a 6 degree of freedom electromagnetic sensor on the tip of each finger. So that allows us to get actually, in some cases, more degrees of freedom than the finger actually has, which is useful for filtering out issues with, for example, the glove moving around on the hand. So the quick answer is we have 30 degrees of freedom for tracking the hand, and we do independently capture all 6 degrees of freedom for each finger. So it is not limited to some reduced model like you'd see with like a bend sensor, or frankly, most motion capture gloves.
Okay. There are lots of questions, and I'm sure you're thinking of more of them as we talk. To be respectful of your time, we're going to wrap up in just a moment today's launch announcement. I want to say thank you so very much for your interest and your support for a hardware company that's been at this for a decade. It's really exciting to reach a milestone like this, where we're opening up pre-orders of our first wide-scale commercial product to the world. And we encourage you to go to haptx.com, place your pre-orders, and get in line for this unbelievable product. We'll be bringing it to your part of the world, I'm sure, over the next 12 months. We're very excited to answer your questions. Reach out to HaptX through our website. I want to say thank you to the hardworking people at HaptX who have put so much of their time, their energy, and their brains and their lives into contributing to this unbelievable product. I want to say thank you to our investors who have believed in this product and in this company and us for years and gotten us to this point. And thank you to the people who helped make this launch possible by shooting our beautiful new video and the photographs and making a website that works very well. So, go to haptx.com, check out the materials, learn everything you can, talk to us if you need to, and when you're ready, pre-order HaptX Gloves G1, and we will bring you that product in a short time. Jake, anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
I think you covered it. Thank you to everybody who joined us today. And we're just so excited to have you go to haptx.com and learn more and hopefully pre-order.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks a lot.